Hello, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are located today. Welcome to the Legend of Zelda Link to the Past Randomizer Tournament 2023 edition. I'm James FNX, and I am joined today by Wolf Link. Wolf, how's it going?
Doing very good here on this Easter Sunday. Happy Easter, everyone, if you are celebrating that.
Happy Easter, everyone. We've got two of our 69 runners in today's qualifier race. On the left, we have Tedo, and on the right, we have Raylan Tank here, two of Germany's finest runners. Both these runners made the main tournament last year in the top half of qualifiers, had some big success in the qualifier races. So expect to see a pretty good race between these two, along with the other runners today. And if you have not seen Standard Start before, if you watch a ladder, you've seen casual boots. We'll be starting with boots, but we are not guaranteed a sword. We'll find out what our weapon is when we see the uncle. It could be one of 7 different things: a sword, hammer, fire rod, bow, one of the 2 cans, or bombs.
That's right, and this is taking part in the standard world state, as we've mentioned, in which is basically going to play out the exact same way as you normally see a Zelda Link to the Past played, in which you have to go through like the opening dungeon crawl to go get Zelda. Most times, though, we play on an open world state, in which we just skip that entirely with the checks are still available there. But we're going to be forced to run through Hyrule Castle's basement today. And we are underway.
Providing some sage advice about how to run the siege. Get some bombs to start out with. So both the runners are probably be hoping that bombs aren't the selected item from our uncle.
Quick map check. I believe we have a pendant over in Hera. I think that's the vanilla pendant even. And I saw 2 crystals at least on the other 2 dungeons for the light world. I didn't catch if they were red. And our weapon from Buncle is unfortunately more bombs.
Oh, that is very unfortunate. Bombs, without boots, bombs would guarantee you access to the back of escape, so not so bad there. But no, we got boots, we can open up that area. This just means it's, if you're not used to starting with bombs and escape, this can be a difficult thing to sort out.
That's right. Bombs, I believe, do level 2 damage, so they can one-shot these green guards here, no problem. But they have to 2-shot the blue guards, and the blue guards in particular are going to be what is the actual challenge here, because a couple of the guards on the way have keys.
Yeah, we're gonna have to kill 2 blue guards. We're gonna have to kill 1 green guard and a rat eventually with these bombs.
Now, thankfully, this game is very kind. The randomizer is very kind, in which we prevent soft lock. So if our runners somehow run out of bombs, they will be given some bombs on a reset or a save and quit or death warp.
Tedo with a very, very good first room there. Very efficient with his bomb placements. Raylan falling behind. Not too bad himself.
Yeah, so far, very good and efficient bomb uses here. There's going to be another bomb here to kill this green guard. Good kiting.
Oh, really well done by Tedo there.
And that is the map. Not quite a vanilla map, though. I believe this is the boomerang chest normally.
Yeah, just how you like to start out your escape with a key and a map and no actual items. Thankfully, our next enemy we have to kill, we aren't going to use bombs on the ball and chain guard. There's 3 pots in this room we can use to kill it.
Yeah, and the pots 2-shot the ball and chain guard as well. And if you set him up enough, you can actually just, when you kill him, you can actually just grab the key as you walk to the cell, which is a nice little time save if you can pull it off. Gonna use one of the pots here to take out the green guard, though.
I see green guards are on the money drop train. We don't really have a good way of farming items in here with bombs, but thankfully we have bombs. That's basically the only thing you'd be farming in this area, other than red rupees. Potentially get a bottle out of Zelda's cell along with the bee. A bee's not going to do much. That bottle will get us another checking Kakariko, though.
Yeah, the bee does... I don't even think it does fighter sword damage, but it could actually be useful here for us, because that could potentially kill the rat for us.
Yeah, I can definitely see Teto just using that bee to kill the rat instead of trying to hit it with a bomb. Those rats can move very randomly.
Yeah, and the bottle will be helpful later for one of our checks because, as we know, there is a kid in the village that is sick, and one of the requirements to get his item is to actually have a bottle in your inventory. So that'll at least give us a little bit of a cleaner route through Kakariko.
Yeah, we'll not have that check hanging over our heads. A little more efficient in these blue guard rooms has opened up a slight lead here in the escape. Get to the back. Heading to the altar right now. Raylan almost just a room behind.
Yeah, altar push for Tito at about 4:15, 4:18 will be in. Yeah. And you might be noticing, why do we have a cone of light here in the Dark World? Well, that is another randomizer feature, in which case, if you're playing the Standard World state, you don't have to have the lamp for this earlier section. You just get a free cone of light. However, any other dark rooms, this courtesy is not extended to, and it is required to have the lamp in your possession in order to see like this.
Yeah, the nice thing, we won't have to worry about it because we have boots and bombs here, but in these standard modes, if you do end up having to come back for those chests in the back of Escape, that cone of light will still be here, even on a second trip to the castle. Raylan gonna have to be a little bit careful here down to a heart. Teto dropping that B. He's gonna get that key. The rats are on the big drop train. But that B is not going to stick around. Won't be able to farm out the 20 rupees or the 8 bomb pack here.
Yeah, but knowing they have fairies is also nice to have. 20 rupees heart piece and 50 rupees there, meanwhile. Bit of starting cash, not bad.
Yeah, that'll be enough to get through Kakariko, no problems.
Raylan down to a single bomb now, but that's all he needs for the time being.
Yeah, you can farm bombs outside of Kakariko. We'll have enough for Kakariko, not a problem. More importantly, not going to die now that we've hit this side room. Picks up those hearts.
Yeah, and even if Raylan gets unlucky, there is a bomb wall in Kakariko that has 4 bomb spawns guaranteed behind it, so... You can easily multiply his bombs if you so choose, although it is in the far corner of the town.
Yeah, and thankfully here, Sanctuary having some more bombs, so no issues for Raylan coming out of Kakariko. Teto remembering we got boots, we can do this Bonkroft check on the way out of Kakariko. Let's see what's in our way out of Sanctuary, and just more bombs in here.
Which will be helpful for Raylan. That'll put him up to 7. More than enough for early game routing. There's our map check once again, and it looks like, in fact, that Eastern Palace is a 5/6 crystal. Hera is the red pendant, and blue crystal rather is over in Desert Palace. We got a much more accurate look there.
Yeah, and our tracker today, Derek, giving us all that information. Fairies on tier 2 triple. Not really what you're looking for. You're going to find some money here. Bush crabs dropping single rupees like they do in the regular game.
And our Agahnim is just 20 rupees, so we don't have to fight the wizard for that. Although, he could be blocking our way to Dark World still.
Yeah, that could be a possibility. Rainbow choosing to skip out on that check of Lumberjack Ledge. So gonna pick up some time not looking at that 20 rupee drop. Won't know that Agahnim is not required for an item for a while, but if the flow of the seed goes well, that's just gonna be some time that Raylan saves with that check skip.
Well, Raylan knows that at least 2 pendants are in the Dark World, so there's no risk of him having to do pedestal, but at the same time, Agahnim being required as well. Well, not being required could not be a thing. Yeah, I'm getting my checks confused now. It's been a bit.
Yeah, it's Easter Sunday. We're all relaxing. It's good times. Bottle of blue potion in Lost Woods, piece of heart. So no progression, a little bit of safety.
Piece of heart, followed by 50 rupees here in Lion's basement, along with another red, and an arrows, which we've got a full quiver. That's not bad. Now we just need a bow to shoot them.
Nothing of note here in Blind's Hut. But checks no one's ever going to skip in a seed, so not much to worry about there. Do you have plenty of money for Kakariko at this point to pick up both Bottle Vendor and Refill Bombs if needed?
Yeah, Kakariko being the single densest location in the early game makes a lot of sense for people to just do all the checks here, even if there's nothing that important. Because it sets them up with money and other stuff for later on. And there's our lamp. And there's some armor, which means our defense is now halved. So those 3 hearts are essentially 6.
Yeah. Blessing and a curse on both of these fronts. Lamp, good to have vision going through dark rooms, makes things a little more consistent. But early lamp can be a harbinger for an Agahnim seed, and then armor upgrade. Without a mirror, you might see our runners want to do some death warps, and that's going to slow things down a little bit. So controlling when you die, armor upgrade's a lot better, but actually wanting to die at some points makes it a little slower.
Meanwhile, we just found the hookshot in the chicken coop, which is, again, a nice mobility item, but it's not an actual weapon. Let's see what the sick kid has. We did get a bottle back in the escape. 300 rupees. Wow. There's not a lot going on in the sea that lets us progress.
No, and with the early flamp, early hookshot, that kind of sniffs out a bit of an Agahnim play, potentially. That hookshot, if you do have Agahnim required, will get you access to more parts of the Dark World than you would if you aren't able to find a hammer or a glove. Yeah,
I'm actually kind of... And there's even more bombs here. Yeah, this is seen as being surprisingly dry with its early game.
Just 20 rupees on race maze race too, so only thing in Kakariko of note is that hookshot.
Yeah, and the lamp as well. That's really it. That's one of the driest Kakarikos I've seen in terms of items.
Raylan and Tedo both going to head down, take a look at the dam. A couple items here.
Yeah, Shalshore is the common next sort of play you would do in this sort of seed.
Yeah, you see sometimes with boots that some runners will do the dam and then go west, take a look at Agina's cave before checking out South Shore, the Mini Moldova Cave and the Ice Rod Cave. There's kind of like 2 different directions you can go here. We find that cape and there's more fuel for the fire for an Agahnim seed.
Oh no. This is looking very much like an Agahnim seed. Let's hope the Mini Moldorm Cave has something for us. This is pretty much the Light World rendition of the Hype Cave we all know and love. 5 items here.
Raylan getting a little friendlier RNG with the Mini Moldorms and Tato, both of them getting through about the same time though. And a book is all we get for our troubles.
Yeah, we also get the shield, which does help with fake flippers at the very least. I've had that little stinky shield save you from getting soft luck, so I will always appreciate it, even if it is otherwise useless. Ice Star Cave being checked now. There's only a singular item here.
Yeah, we'll see both these runners set up a water walk out of here, I presume, with 700 rupees and nothing else really to do other than going to desert after this.
Oh, Eastern Palace is also a viable play. We can at least get a couple items out of that way. I think going towards doing the water walk is the correct play, though. We'll be able to at least get the Man of the Bridge and possibly transition to Zorb. There's a glove!
So that's one glove that is absolutely locked by Dark World access. Raylan going to skip under the bridge. So is Ted. Without a Moon Pearl, you're going to have to just do this. There's our other glove, also locked in behind Flippers.
And we don't know where those Flippers could be, so logically speaking, this is looking like it could very well be an Agaseed. But that sequence break right there might have just let us bypass it.
One other thing we know now is that the Zord item is hard locked by the Flippers. At least logically, because both of our gloves are also locked by the Flippers.
That is true, so this cannot be Flippers here. And it is in fact our Ice Rod.
Decent chance that's required. 5 out of 7 chance at this point.
Yeah, Turtle Rock could be one of our crystals, but that is the only dungeon that the Ice Rod is required for.
And it looks like both our runners are going to head up the mountain with these gloves. Also, stuff that this is all locked in behind a lamp. Or not a lamp, it's all locked in behind a flute at this point, or those Flippers.
And we're seeing another common routing decision here, with Raylan checking Agahnim now before heading up the mountain, and he does scout that 20 rupees now.
Yeah, getting an opportunity to loop this check in along with going up the mountain.
Yeah, that's like one of the 2 times you check Agahnim, is either you do it right at the start, or you do it when you're about to go up the mountain for the first time.
Yeah, and from Raylan's position, not having checked Agahnim at that point and already having Lamp and Cape, makes a lot more sense to take a peek and see then what's there. Tato saving the old man, doing a save and quit. We'll see what Raylan does with the old man, whether they're going to make a check over to the east side of Death Mountain out of logic or not.
Yeah, Tato's heading south here. I think he's going to go to desert.
Yep, Tato's going to follow the logic of that book.
So he was just unlocking the save warp point, which makes some sense. Raylan, meanwhile, is going to continue onward here on the mountains. Let's see what we see here. Anything locked up here is locked behind the Flippers or the flute, I believe, at this point.
That's correct. Just a piece hard on Desert Ledge. Teto's going to head inside Desert.
Meanwhile, I did not catch what was inside Spectacle Rock Cave.
Not interesting enough for Raylan to go grab it. Going to head over to the east side. Chat's saying red boomerang. Not going to take the time to grab that.
Yeah, it makes sense. Boomerangs are not really the greatest. They only can stun and possibly even kill minor enemies, but we already have the hookshot for that.
Tato going to farm some magic here. Going to set up to actually complete Desert with his Ice Rod.
Meanwhile, Sword found and the red mail in Paradox Cave. Let's see what else is in here as we see the other big group of items. And not really anything to speak of besides that sword and their armor. And there's a sword in desert. Okay, so logically, we have Agahnim access.
Yep, that sword locked behind the book is accessible along with Cape and the lamp. That second sword puts tablets in play, but that is still all locked by the Flippers, unless we find a flute here in Desert as our second item. How about a bow? There's our second item in here. That's a bow to do Eastern Palace.
And that means Tato's routing is actually pretty on point here.
Yeah, staying in logic, Tato's going to be able to get 2 crystals done here in the Light World. And find out what the actual path is, and then make some decisions on whether you want to sequence break out of that path.
Speaking of things that might be in sequence, we see the magic powder there on the floating island. We can't get that just yet, but that's still something to keep in mind, because that does lock a check with the magic bat. And actually, this is actually good routing for Tito here, because that means he can just full clear the eastern area when he gets to it.
Absolutely.
And I believe these are called Popoi? Popoi.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, they're in the high value troop too, and they're not exactly an uncommon enemy here in these early parts of these dungeons, so good restock halfway through.
Yeah, you got a bunch from here, you got a bunch from an Eastern Palace. Gonna have plenty of opportunities to keep the magic and bomb total refilled. Raylan gonna make his way down to the desert area now. We'll find that second sword.
And we're just gonna get the Lamos out of the way using the ice rod, which I want to say is actually the vanilla intended way to fight these things, because they two-shots them.
Yeah, the ice rod in the vanilla game is available from the start. Yeah, this is one of the intended ways to beat desert.
Yeah, and I believe even after you get the boots, Hospital tells you, hey, the ice rod is down to the southeast. Go get it.
Nice clean fight from Teddy though. Pick up crystal number 1, the 19-minute mark. Raylan making his way in. Teddy's going to take a look at Agahni's cave before heading out of here.
Makes sense. It's a loose check. And really, all we have left in logic is the Eastern Palace area.
That's correct.
And unless we find flippers in logic in Eastern Palace region, then it does not matter what else the seed wants from us. It is logically an Agahnim seed.
Yeah, we're gonna have to find. Yeah, we find the hammer over here. I'll get to skip all of that, but I suspect we're about to find flippers here in Eastern, which still gets us an Agahnim seed, just one with a few extra steps.
Well, even if we don't find the flippers here, then it's an Agahnim seed. So we'll see what we have to deal with. We can't full clear Eastern Palace, and this is another one of our crystals, so we'll be done with our light world dungeons here in short order.
Okay, making good use of that cape, dashing through Cannonball Run.
I'll leave him out there. Tito also opting to not check Sahasra. Like, must be planning to check it on his way out, which makes a little bit of sense because it's a little bit easy to go downhill to go check him, and then afterwards can save warp to potentially go fight Agahnim afterwards.
Yeah, it's a lot faster to get to Sarasula's hut going out of Eastern Palace than it is going from the hut to Eastern Palace. So this makes a lot of sense. If you don't have a glove, then you might as well just go to Sarasula's hut because you have to go the same way for both. But with the glove, you get to take that southeastern corner route up to the palace without any sort of interruption.
First item out of Eastern Palace is only 5 rupees. We have both items out of Desert here with the bow and the second sword. So yeah, it's just Eastern Palace region.
Yeah.
There's the big key. Now, if there's an item in this chest, does Tito take the gamble and go straight to the boss and hope the third's there, or does he do the full loop?
I don't know. If you're looking for... There's our second item. We'll find out very shortly. It looks like Teto is going to go take a look at the item in the big key chest.
This, I think, is the correct play. Just make absolutely sure you don't miss it, because this is a time loss if you don't. Both strats now for Raylan here. The backup option if you run out of magic, which I think he did.
Yeah, me running out of magic. It has Master Sword, so it's not too bad. Does get through the fight pretty easily. We'll pick up that first crystal.
We have Easter Pile. Okay, and it would actually have paid off to go straight to the boss. So we have a Blue Rupee and the Quake Medallion, which Quake is okay.
It's the worst of the 3 medallions. It doesn't kill much turns a lot of enemies into a lot easier things to kill, but it doesn't actually kill a lot of things itself.
Yeah, and also I think it stuns some enemies. Like, I believe the thievery enemies in Dark World can get stunned by them. But for all we know, it could also be one of the required pendants. And in terms of animation, it is, I think, the middle of the road.
I think it's about the same speed as Bombos, Ether being the fastest of the three.
It's I don't know. I always felt for me Bombos was longer, but that's a detail for another time. Anyway, Armos fight happening now. Let's get us set up for the quick kill. 5 arrows that way, and then shooting arrows down this way should be able to kill the last 2 at the same time, and he does, and that is the flute, which puts the mountain in logic, puts the other sword in logic, but doesn't do much else.
No, we're still on a hunt for flippers to put that glove into logic. Moon Pearl would just push people, push these runners immediately to Agahnim. It's certainly looking like it's an Agahnim seed, and we're going to find Moon Pearl or flippers right here in Sarasa's closet. Or could just have Hammer here, Hammer flips here, and bypass all of that.
What do we got? Bombs, the Moon Pearl, and 20 rubies. Flippers are not even in the light world, so it is a hard Agahnim seed. There's like 3 or 4 scenarios here, and this is like the second one I let list off. We have to go through Agahnim to get to Dark World. There is no other option.
Yep, and we'll find those flippers either on the pyramid or in Palace of Darkness. Nothing else is accessible logically. I know we have the glove, we have a hook shot to get to the west side of the Dark World, but those gloves are out of logic.
Yeah, so we would either find a hammer in Palace of Darkness or the flippers.
Yep. Yeah, hammer would get us access to the southwest Dark World.
Yeah, because the only way to get across the northern part of the pyramid is to either lift up the rocks or hammer the stake that's there.
Yep. So I think both these runners, once they get through Agahnim, are just going to be kind of forced into following the logic, knowing that there's something important in Palace of Darkness or on the pyramid.
Yeah. I think our runners are just going to follow the logic here and realize it, but based on what we've seen, we know it's an Agahnim seed today.
Gets the 7 items out of Paradox Cave, gets that Master Sword. Is going to continue on to Spiral Cave, which, understandable. Like, you're looking for any way out of the situation when going to Agahnim Tower. Don't want to leave a flipper here, don't want to leave a glove here, or a hammer here. It just feels like a super slow check, and we know it's not going to pay off for him.
What do you think we're going to be finding in the Dark World here? I'm going to say... Let's say this actually is the flippers, because I believe that is going to be the more complicated bit of logic to follow.
Yeah, flippers will get us access logically to the west side of Dark World through the hookshot link. You swim past that hammer glove barrier. One of the more convoluted pieces of logic that the seed can provide.
Yeah, but with both runners doing the sequence break, we're just gonna skip the step and just flip the rocks anyway.
Yeah, I don't think there's any chance you can actually skip out on doing Palace of Darkness if the pyramid doesn't have anything. You know you need flippers because your second glove is flipper locked, and it could be either flippers or hammer over there. So you just kind of have to do it.
All right, so now it is time for the climb for Agahnim Tower. This is all that's up here is Agahnim himself, and he's just here because we need to unlock the dark world, which is how you actually do it in the normal game. And the charging guards here are part of the magic dropping pool, it looks like.
Yeah, won't be able to use magic to great extent in this dungeon. Don't have a weapon that can really kill enemies. Quake is a long time animation to just stun a lot of things, so it's not all that useful here. And the only other things we have magic for are ramp and cape.
Yeah, I think Ice Rod can instant kill the blue guards, but it can't instant kill everything here. It will just freeze them. Which still can be useful. You can use a frozen enemy as a projectile.
Right, turning this flute in. I presume we'll flute to 4 after this and head up to Aghanim's tower himself. The bow's going to make a lot more work out of enemies here than any of our magic weapons. 2 arrows take down these red guards.
Now, of course, there's people probably wondering how is this race going to be fair versus Force Agahnim. Well, for anyone who's not watched A Link to Best Randomizer, we do have a few conveniences in place for our runners' sanity. One of which is that both Agahnim fights and Ganon are on a fixed seed, so their RNG is seeded. It's not fully random. So we are going to get the same teleport pattern and the same shot pattern here as we about from the fight. And we actually like to play a little bit of a mini game here in which we guess how many of those blue unreflectable shots we're going to get from Agahnim here. He can do up to 15 because his first shot for each set is a guaranteed reflectable shot.
I root for 0. If it's not 0, then it's probably not all that interesting. As interesting as 15 would be, I don't want to see it because I don't want to watch our runners go through 15 blue shots.
Alright, so pretty quick teleports to start with, and there's unfortunately one of those blue shots right there. And a second one. Oh no.
Oh no.
And there's a second reflectable shot. So, 2 so far. The 6th attack is always... The 5th attack is always lightning, and then that's the pattern, which he does a orange shot. And then it does a 50-50... 3 times between orange and blue. There's another orange, so that's 4. There's another blue, so...
Statistically, the average is... The most likely number we're going to see is 3 blue shots. Looks like we're either going to have 3 or 4 here, depending on...
it looks like to be 3. Because he's doing his second lightning phase.
So, a bog average Agahnim. Ho-hum. Let's get back to the video game.
Yeah, bit of an all-scroller fight there, but has to be done. It is one of the only boss fights that you get you fully on. Here's our pendant dungeons. Oh! Turtle Rock and Piles of Darkness are our pendants, with Turtle Rock being the green. I didn't quite see where the other 5-6 was, though, but the rest of the dungeons are...
The other 5-6 was at Thieves Town. And so we're going to have a kind of a required dip into Pendant Palace of Darkness, the pyramid item, just Piece of Heart.
That also means the ice rod may not be fully required here. And in fact, there's not a lot that can be on the pedestal either, now that I think about it.
Yeah, at this point, just a medallion, I believe.
Yeah, it can only be the...
Mirror. It could be Mirror as well.
Oh, yeah, that is true.
But we got lots of time. We got lots of time and lots of checks before we have to worry about that. But even though both our runners could break logic and head to the West Dark World, you know, there's either a flipper or a hammer here. You need both of them, so there's no reason not to come over here and take a look and see what you get out of Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, both runners did get a little bit of value out of the ice rod anyway, with it being allowing them to have a somewhat quicker molder form. And there it is, the flipper's right at the start of the dungeon.
Yeah, that might be like there are some worlds where you just leave after finding that flipper, knowing that kind of brings everything into logic. Tedo though is going to continue on and take a look at the rest of Palace of Darkness here.
Yeah, and that flipper does two things. One, it tells us the glove is down logic, finally. It also tells us that this was, without a doubt, an Agahnim C, because both gloves were locked behind Dark World.
Yep.
And it also tells us that this dungeon here is actually bow locked as well, because we didn't have a small key to open the front door. So this boat here is required in order to go deeper into pod if there's anything else here.
Setting up a death warp. These spikes don't care about your armor. They're going to deal 1 heart of damage no matter what. And Raylan is going to actually ignore the logic here. Take a look at Catfish at least. 2 small keys on right side, which means they're still looking for 1 potential other item in the front of Palace of Darkness.
That's correct, because key logic is a strange thing. Basically, it always sees every single possible door you can use and makes sure there's enough keys to open every single door, even if the one you actually need to open is the last one. So as a result, because there's 4 locked doors, there's going to be 4 small keys here in the front of the dungeon. And that is a fire shield on Catfish. Not really that useful.
Yeah, Raylan's not going to take the time to pick that up. We'll see if Raylan decides to head into the West Dark World or not. I don't advise it, but we'll see what he chooses to do here in a moment. Meanwhile, Ted is going to head to the right side. Head back to the main area. We are down to 1 key, so I believe we've found that second item in the front of pod.
Yes, it was a piece of heart in the vanilla big key chest up there. So this will be the other small key here.
Yep.
And people are probably wondering, well, why is the other small key door? It's actually the small key door that leads straight to Helmsor King, so...
Yeah, there's a small key door in the peg room as you head downstairs. The first of the dark rooms there.
Yeah, you gotta make sure you have enough small keys here. Now, there could be a key locked behind, key locking itself behind 1 key door, which is acceptable.
Yeah, it looks like we have that here. Harmless Highway is going to be a key for a key.
Yeah, because I believe over here, there's no way that this is locked behind a key.
Yeah, you can't have a small key in the dark maze. Raylan heading to Skull Woods decides to skip out on Palace of Darkness, knowing that there has to be some bit of required progression in that dungeon. That's an interesting choice from Raylan.
It is indeed, but at the same, and if we know it's the flippers too, which Swamp House is one of our 2 required dungeons, or one of our several required dungeons rather. So missing out on that is not great. That's a French for nullifier rod.
Yeah, that's maybe like a case for that fire rod for Raylan. So it being exactly the flippers and nothing else in pod is pretty good news for Raylan.
Yeah, I agree. And because it's so early as well, even.
Yeah, had a bit of hammer in there, or say flippers and mirror, or a second required item of some nature in pod. Been really bad news for Raylan missing out on both those items. But it's going to get filtered into pod sooner rather than later, knowing that the mitts are flipper locked. And this trip over to Western Dark World is the next step in the logic train. So Raylan is going to get this information, get these items, and then can come back and know, hey, my flippers or my hammer or whatever I haven't found yet is in pod. And as soon as he finds those, that kind of pod dungeon can leave. So it's going to save a bunch of time over Tito with this decision. So it was a risky play by Raylan, but I think it's going to pay off.
I can't help but agree to it, yeah. Because at this point, he could just find everything else that he is missing and then realize I haven't been to pod yet, and then he's in go mode. Like, the only thing that could potentially ruin that sort of long-term strategy is if there is something in Swamp Palace that we need to get sooner rather than later. But right now, we don't have the means to check anything except for one item in Swamp Palace, because the rest are hammer locked after that point.
And we still need a mirror too. At this point, the only thing that could be in Swamp Palace is either a hammer in the first check or the medallion for Misery Mile. So it's really looking like a pretty good decision if you look at results for Raylan here, even though it's a big risk leaving an item you know is progression of some sort in that dungeon.
Yeah, also to extend your list there, also the Keenness of Mario, which also for Mire.
True, yes.
So there's not a lot that can be flippers locked here, but there could be a lot that's mirror locked. Or even Titans locked, even. We'll have to wait and see here. Oh, is this a back? Is this a back first from Tato? Oh, that's unfortunately not going to be good for him.
It's a mid first. Not unreasonable if you don't expect to finish this dungeon here, but it's going to find the fire rod and be a little bit disappointed.
Meanwhile, our first look at the Village of Outcast area here. Only 3 bumps thus far. Overworld has not been paying out that much.
No, we found most of our stuff in dungeons so far. The Overworld has just given us a lamp, a cape, 1 sword up on Death Mountain. But most everything's been in dungeons: this bow, fire rod, flippers, things like that.
Yeah, let's see what's here in Thieves Town. So far, nothing of note. Tato, meanwhile, about to get his fire rod.
Nothing in the front of Thieves Town. Just looked like 3 items.
Looks like 3 to me, yeah.
Yeah, piece heart, 20 rupees. I forget what was in chest number 2. But big key in chest 1. So 1 item left here in Thieves Town. And Taito is just gonna leave. He's found both items in Skull Woods. Doesn't need to beat the boss right now. This isn't a bad decision on his part.
Yeah, no, I can agree with this play. Because a lot of the danger in the boss fight is actually in the spike traps, more so than that. And they don't care about your armor or level. So going into the fight with only effectively 7 heart containers can be difficult.
I think it's more of Taito's just hoping to find a sword somewhere, make the fight a little bit quicker. As a flute, you can get back here very quickly once you get a hammer or a mirror to get those mitts. And there's that mirror. Speaking
and that is
of,
something Raylan did not find because he went straight into Thieves Town. So he'll get that eventually, but he'll let it sooner rather than later. And there's our last item in Thieves Town, and it's just a heart piece.
So that mirror will lead to mitts for Taito. Raylan will have that shortly as well. Still on the hunt for a hammer, and that does open up a lot of places where the hammer could be. Could be a hammer in Ice Palace, in Swamp, in the Mire area.
King's Tomb as well, because now we have access to Titan's mitts.
Yep.
And actually, by extension of that, we also have access to Hookshot Cave, even the entire Dark Death Mountain.
Yeah.
We also have access to Hera as well, and the medallions, or the medallion tablets.
The tablets, yeah. We got access to a lot of things now, a lot of options for Teto once he grabs those mitts.
So we'll have to see where Teto goes next. Meanwhile, Raylan is about to fight blind. Red Veil return to sender. I don't think I've seen that one. Anyway, pretty clean scripted fight here. Just hitting him as the first possible moment. And the fight plays out exactly the same every single time, and that is a clean blind fight.
Yeah,
and it looks like we miscounted because there's another item on the boss.
Oh, we got a small key somewhere too. I don't remember where that was at. It might have been a maiden cell. So, one thing this does give Raylan both red crystals. Ted will have them both as well here. So potentially, since that small key was a maiden cell, blind is not locked by the hammer. Which means that the hammer could be in pyramid.
Yeah, and with the mirror now, Raylan will probably be more inclined to go to pod, thinking that he doesn't have to go too deep in. That was actually probably why he did it, because he didn't want to Death Warp out once he found whatever was in there that was required.
Yeah, Tato's going to have a nice setup here. Going to be able to do Red Bomb, immediately hop in the water, grab those mitts, and then do whatever he wants after those checks. Raylan still is going to have to grab the flippers out of pod.
Yeah, which now with the mirror, he might be more inclined to make that dip, because for all he knew, he could have been in the basement and he was just going to mirror out and leave with it being a pendant.
Right.
But of course, we know that it's in the first chest of the dungeon, so...
Oh yeah, and with that mirror and flipper, Tato will also clean up that last flipper check that neither of our runners did on stream under the bridge. Be able to check that really quickly with mirror.
Yeah, a lot of days for just 3 bombs. Not worth the price of admission there. That's Zach was really close to hitting Tato there. I think he stunned it prior. Cave Sappho Grove, also known as K45, for us today has even more bombs. Wow. This seed being very stingy, it seems. Let's see what Stumpy has.
Yeah, this has just been one to kind of put the breadcrumbs together. A heart container off of a friend, the Stump. So I think Tato's going to get a little bit of an advantage having these flippers already. Going to be able to get those mitts right now. Get under the bridge, see what's there. And get a lot of checks done that Raylan just is going to have to kind of figure out when to do them.
Gonna start by checking Bombo's tablet here first. Now, if we didn't have the Master Sword, we would get a hint if we just walk away if this is nothing major, but we gotta sit through this animation.
Just a heart for Raylan.
Oh, I think I remembered why I think Bombos is the longest one, because you have to sit on top and wait for the fire animation to finish on top of the animation for the medallion.
True. Okay, 5 items. Maybe this has our hammer.
I can see reputation. So far, it's just been money, a heart container, heart piece, which is another full heart, and another heart piece. Yeah, that's decidedly dud-shaped, unfortunately.
Yeah, not the hype our runners are hoping for.
But now on a full row of hearts, I believe. So definitely has more than enough health for the rest of the game. Especially with red mail.
Yeah, Raylan's going to do this big bomb, and then I presume we'll head over to House of Darkness after this. Not really having many other options right now.
Yeah, and nice thing about doing with Agahnim is that we have access to the Hyrule Castle gate aid warp, so we can just go the quick way with the super bomb. Another thing it does though is it does make the overworld slightly harder. Most notably, the Eastern Palace area is just absolutely full of guards.
Yeah, it's pretty gross over there. No one wants to be over there in that area.
And the Cave of Samaria is locked behind our super bomb.
All right, that's something that Tato's not going to miss on the way through this loop. So not any sort of advantage Raylan's picking up there, but it is required.
And Raylan is just gonna...
This is an aggressive graveyard ledge check. We'll see what comes out of it in a moment here as Teto heads over to a Hype Cave, get that bunch of money and some pieces of heart.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be King's Tomb as well, it looks like.
Nothing in King's Tomb. Next up is Graveyard Ledge.
Meanwhile, our tracker is thinking it's Kings into Grave into Water Walk for the mids, which is going to be good. Shout out, by the way, to our tracker, Daruk, for keeping those items up to date for us down there at the bottom of our screen.
This is such a huge gamble to Water Walk for his mids when you know there's something in pod that will likely get you to those mids.
Yeah, with our mids being on the ledge, with Mire being in treasure chest game, and with our flippers being right in the front, basically in the front door of pod, there's not a lot to go off of here. And it looks like Raylan sending back to Skull Woods?
Yeah, it's going to set up the Water Walk in here.
Okay, yeah.
So you want to dash across the side of a pit like you would do down an Ice Rod Cave. And now Raylan's just got to hold this all the way to a place where you can hop in the water and go get to the place where you can mirror. It's a little bit dangerous. There are a lot more enemies in the Dark World side of the island than there are in the Light World.
And all of this because he doesn't want to go to pod.
Right.
He has to know they're there at this point. He just wants to finish the scene at this point, I think, without the flippers.
Yeah, at this point, you know that either flippers or hammer are in pod. And it's more likely to be flippers than hammer, given what you found and not found. Raylan, well done getting those mitts off the Mire area.
The one problem here, though, is Raylan is putting this off for the longest time, and he cannot avoid, unless he does diver downs, I think, he cannot avoid doing a dip.
Well, yeah, he's gonna need the flippers for swamp, but that might just be his go at this point. Quake for Misery Mire, so don't need another medallion here. It's just hammer. It's just hammer at this point.
Yeah, it's just hammer, which, wherever that is, it's going to be go mode for our runners here. Well, Cheddar doesn't know that yet.
Right. But if Raylan's put the math together and say, I know flippers are in pod, it's going to do everything you can without those flippers to try and make flippers his go mode.
Yeah, and before this is the legendary Hammer and Swamp Seed, which there is only one possible location in Swamp where the hammer could show up, and it's in the vanilla map chest.
Yeah, one check per hammer. It's been there before. This game's got jokes sometimes. We got a lot of things to check before then, though. We've got Mire, we've got Hookshot Cave, Super Bunny on Death Mountain. Lots of stuff to still to check. Tato's going to go under the bridge. This is something we haven't looked at either.
Yeah, this could be something that no one's done.
Imagine hammering here. Imagine how gross this seat is if you can just fake flip your way out of Agahnim on a double flipper lock seat. It is half magic, which is nice, but not required.
Yeah. Half magic is a nice convenience. Will be helpful when we go to Ice Palace and fight Cold Stare later at the very least. It allows us to have plenty of magic to attack the eyeballs in the second phase.
So Tato now going to head into Mire. Finds out it is Quake.
Big key there on the left side.
Yeah, nice location for full clearing Mire, less so if you want to go mode it, but we're still looking for one item, so pretty good location for that big key.
Yeah, and there's still so many locations to go to. I would not be surprised. There's a nice little flip. I'm wondering if our hammer's up by Turtle Rock.
Could be. Very, very likely it could be at this point. As we have now we've brought everything into logic at this point now. It's just the hammer for go. And I mean, Turtle Rock is completely off the table at this point, which is very nice to know.
Yeah, Turtle Rock's off the table. The majority of Swamp's off the table, except for the one chest.
Yeah,
and about half of Ice is off the table, but that's still plenty of opportunities for Ice to have the hammer.
Yeah, and Raylan's going to check Ice before going to Pod and going to get those flippers. Raylan absolutely wants to find the hammer before getting forced over to Pod. Because if you do that, then you find the flippers, you lose, you're done. That's that.
Alright. Raylan, meanwhile, on his way over to Cold Stare. I said the run boss, it's Vitreous.
That's next weekend. When we'll put Cold Stare in Vitreous's location and vice versa, maybe.
Oh yeah, it is McBoss, isn't it, next week?
Yep, absolutely. That'll be qualifier number 3, Saturday morning. Saturday afternoon for those you in Europe. I believe the start on that is 11 a.m. Eastern Saturday.
Alright, so it looks like there was nothing in Mire to speak of.
Yeah, I don't know if Raylan found both items or is just gambling that cutscene chest is a big blank.
Well, we had left side big key, so maybe? We'll see. Has to be a little bit careful here. The slime here in this fight does act as spikes, which is trap damage.
Yeah, it's certainly better to take that trap damage than it is to take a hit from one of these eyeballs.
Yeah, and the lightning, of course, is completely random. It changes direction pretty much every single frame. That also applies to Aghanim's lightning attack.
There's our second item on Vitreous, so skipping cutscene pays off. Raylan getting both items here, not our hammer. Does pick another crystal.
Yeah, and getting also a partial refill of the hearts here as well.
So I expect to see both our runners head to Ice after cleaning up the rest of the checks here. We'll check Checkerboard Cave. See if that's going to work. Raylan is so incentivized to sequence break Ice here. Looking for this hammer.
Yeah. And there's a heart container. Just gonna nope out. We have plenty of health.
So Wolfley, where do you think this hammer is going to be located at?
You want me to be completely real? I'm feeling a bit evil today. I wanted to be in that first chest of swamp.
That'd be a very bad time for Raylan, that's for sure. Nope, Raylan is gonna go get these slippers now. Raylan is deciding not to sequence break ice. He's gonna go pick up the flippers out of pod, which means that he's gonna full clear pod other than the boss, which is giving that time back. So if you're in Tenno's shoes, do you go hammerless ice? Do you go up the mountain for Hookshot Cave and Super Bunny when you know that Turtle Rock is not going to be the play? It just can never be the play. Or do you take a look at that first chest in Swamp?
I would honestly say go to Ice Palace hammerless. The overworld thus far has proven to be very unreliable in terms of giving us items, which could be levied by Dark Death Mountain. And the Swamp Palace is just a Hail Mary play.
Yeah, if it was earlier in the seed and you just had a chance to loot that check-in with your other Southwest Dark World checks, I think there's a little bit of value in making that check then. But now when you're just on a hammer hunt, it doesn't seem all that appealing. I think I would head up the mountain. There's 6 checks up there. If it's an Ice Palace, you aren't going to win the seed. But if it's not an Ice Palace, if it is up there, then you're saving a bunch of time. And I think you just end up effectively in a better average position, making the more dense play.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see where our runners are.
Yeah, and when you're in a qualifier setting like this, you don't need to win. You just need to be close enough to the leaders to not fall too far behind your rankings.
That is true. And actually, another point of credit for your idea as well is that we know the magic powder is up on the mountain. We do have the means to check that through portal shenanigans. And we also have the Smith Loop on top of that, which will be put in the area anyway as well.
Yeah.
So Mountain may lead is overall the more item-rich play. It does take a long time for those to go through because you're going to be part of a fetch quest, but overall it's going to be there. And it looks like Tito has made that decision.
Yeah, I think if I was in Tito's shoes right now, I would do Mountain. If I don't find it in Mountain, I do Ice. If I don't find it Ice, then I do Smith Chain with Powder check alongside it. So I like what Tito's doing here. Gonna have 6 items here plus the powder we know is on top of the mountain. Meanwhile, Raylan making his way through pod isn't gonna find anything else other than those flippers.
Yeah, we will have to see. Here we go with a super money check, 10 arrows, and a heart container. I didn't know a Sankar based on that little animation, though. Could be wrong.
Yeah. Sankart not a big deal in this mode. You do get through full refill, but got plenty of health, got red mount, doesn't really matter.
Yeah. It's hard to tell because I don't think we have Teto's audio today.
We'll see what Tato has grabs up here in a moment.
Yeah. Immediately bolting out.
Leaving the cave did not bother grabbing powder. Got the hammer.
Yep, the hammer's in Hookshot Cave. That's go mode.
Yeah, that is go mode. Tato's off to Swamp. And then Ice gets to go mode both these dungeons. 1 hour, 2 minutes in go mode with an Agahnim seed. That's a pretty good pace.
Yeah, incredibly good pace for this kind of seed. That hammer could have been a lot ruder than it could have been. That was very nice play from Tato.
Yeah, all of the Dark World progression locked him into flippers, both gloves and then hammer locked behind the second glove.
And Raylan is now going to check them out in 2, so we will get hopefully get confirmation exactly where it is. And I don't think Tedo has gone to fight Mothula, but does have the fire rod from there. So
yeah. Tedo found the fire rod in there. Did back to or middle to front. Found the fire rod, chose to do other things and go fight the boss. Just kind of hoping for another sword, make it a little bit faster. Hasn't found that. Did find half magic, will make it a lot safer. But there's no real rush to run back from the front of Skullwoods to the back to fight the boss when you can just do it whenever. And Tedo did find both items in that dungeon, so we'll have to put that on the line. So Raylan is up a crystal right now on Tedo.
Yeah, and actually I just realized something here about the seed. It was incredibly kind. I do expect our runners to do a little bit of checks on the way, though.
Yeah, you're going to want to try and find another sword or silvers, just for the speed it gives you going through Ganon's Tower in the Ganon fight. So what we're going to see here is go mode-ish. Whatever chests are along the way that are available, you're going to check. Whatever chests are a little too far or out of the way to get, you're just going to skip the hammer in the last check of Hookshot Cave. Have to do them all.
Yeah, and the reason being, of course, is something we're learning through the Ganon fight is he is vulnerable to the Master Sword, but you have to use spin attacks exclusively on him, and it is upwards of, I think, like 50 or 70 spins. It's a lot.
It's 52 spins to get through the entire sword Ganon fight Master Silverless. So you're going to want to find another sword upgrade or silvers in one of these chests that's easily accessible. Tedo is going to take the time here to check the drown chests. I would imagine he'll check the waterfall chests. It's very quick. He's going to check a couple chests in ice, but not everything. And then we'll head into Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, hoping for an extra sword here. Also, can I just appreciate the fact that despite the fact that this was a forced Agahnim seed, the only thing we needed was literally just to dip into pod and go and then leave with the flippers.
Yeah.
We didn't have to touch Hera or we had to touch pretty much. We could just have ignored the entirety of all our pendant dungeons with that one exception.
Yeah. First crack pod, the only thing you needed out of pendants today. Very much a quick seed, even with that Agahnim requirement.
Yeah, just the absolute minimum interaction possible for the dungeons. Cannot be mad about that.
Tedo doing a pretty good job here, grabbing 2 puffs at a time and getting with spins. Going to use this Ice Rod to take down Phase 2 of Argus in 1 cycle. Ether? Not the worst thing in the world, but will speed up a couple rooms in Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, most notably, I believe the Stalfos room during what we call the Gauntlet.
Yeah, the Stalfos room with the 4 chests and the Stalfos room, the Gauntlet. If you're doing a route that requires you to clear out the Stalfos in that 4 chest room, it's a little bit. It isn't necessarily faster than killing them with swords, but it is a heck of a lot more efficient.
Yeah, because the Stalfos like to jump away from your sword strikes. It makes them kind of annoying to deal with. But Ether not only kills them pretty efficiently, it doesn't even freeze them. It just deletes them.
Yeah, kills them with no animation, whereas Bombos will kill him with the fire death animation. So works out really well. Tedo gonna head into Ice Palace here. This makes a lot of sense. You're still looking for a sword to speed up Skull Woods if you can find one. And you know there's nothing else in Skull, so we found both your items.
Yeah, Tedo not even gonna check this. Might check the big key chest on his way down through the Icebreaker. Sorry, I forgot the name of the trick there for a second. It has been a few months.
Yeah, he's going to check that. If there's a small key in there, you get to get through the rest of the dungeon a little bit quicker. And you get a choice of whether you want to take a little bit of time out to go do a couple extra checks. I doubt Tito will, but that extra key will... if there's a key in this chest, it means you won't have to pick up the rock. Raylan also doing a really good job getting 2 pounds at a time with these spins. Gets the ice rod out for a quick kill.
Nicely done. So one advantage that Tato does have is that if this is a forced Master Silverless Ganon, he does have the half magic. There's a bottle of the bee in it. Not helpful.
Yeah, that half magic will be really helpful for Tato. Otherwise, you're really stuck doing doubles with limbs if you don't have that half magic.
Yeah, I think with Fire Rod and... I think you, even with the... I think you need either the lamp or half magic in order to do a Master of Silverless Ganon, because otherwise you just don't have enough magic.
Yeah, because it's 24 spins in Phase 4. And each Fire Rod shot takes out an eighth of your bar without half magic, so you'd have to be literally perfect. And be lucky as well, because Ganon's teleports could put him in a position where you just cannot get a double without frame perfect movement. So
nice corner trap there from Teto there, getting the compass out of here and getting his 6th crystal. Still has to go fight Skullwoods, but that'll be a quick fight as well.
Yeah, that was a really good Cold Stare fight on Master Sword. That was just really well executed.
Normally you see him trapped in the upper right corner, but the upper left corner, I don't know if that's more consistent or not. It's something I don't normally see, regardless.
Teto passing the intelligence check here. Does remember he has to go back to Skullwoods and fight Mothula.
Yeah, that is just a climb up the mountain for Ganon's Tower. And really, that's kind of the only really annoying thing here, is we only had to go up the mountain twice, I think. Once to get the hammer, and once to go fight Ganon. Or at least against... Yeah. Go do Ganon's Tower. Sorry. Words.
Yeah, you could have done all this in one mountain trip. That second sword certainly has accelerated things for both these runners, but not required for any of this. Raylan not going to take the time out to kill those freezers. Doesn't have the magic to do it anyways. Going to need a full magic bar. I guess as sword beams could do some dupes, but more consistent to have that full magic bar in case you don't get those dupes pulled off. We'll see how Raylan does with Cold Stare here. 3 dupes, very nicely done. We'll have 3 Fire Rod shots left for the rest of this fate.
Oh, but loses the crown, the puffball, so this is going to be a little bit of a time loss here.
Yeah, red mail means this is still a pretty safe fight. Cold Stare will deal 2 hearts of damage. The Icicles will deal a half a heart. But it is going to be slower.
Bringing out the hammer here. Hammer does temper damage. Fire Rod shots, meanwhile, I believe do, at least on Cold Stare specifically, it does Gold Sword damage.
Yep. Nicely done by Raylan getting through this fight. Had a little bit of a panic moment there as the Cold Stare puff separated a little before he was expecting him to. Gets it done though, picks up Bristol number 7, and Raylan will be on his way to Ganon's Tower shortly.
Yep. So what a seat this has been thus far.
Yeah, both are runners. An hour 12. Agahnim down. All your crystals. Head and Ganon's tower. It's a really quick one. We
Yeah.
got some numbers in chat. People love numbers, and we know that numbers mean what numbers mean? Numbers mean things. It could be like where he's at. I don't know. What do you know, Wolf?
It means that we are playing a little guessing game where we're guessing which chest in Ganon's Tower will have the Ganon's Tower big key. We're not going to be running the game in any official capacity, so go ahead and guess for fun. After all, this is a community race, so someone could have already gotten the big key for all we know.
Yeah, and if we get to see it on screen, we'll shout you out. You will win. Not only will you win the admiration and respect of your friends and family for winning the Ganon's Tower Big Key Guessing Game, you will also win a copy of the Link to the Past Randomizer home game, which is just a Link to the Past Randomizer.
Alright, looks like Raylan is going to be... Well, the first one that we're aware of that's going to be in here. I believe you said both these runners were German?
Yes. Yeah, they both they played each other in the semifinals of the German tournament last year. Tedo picked up the win in that race, but
Alright, so we're gonna see Raylan go in here, so we'll go off of Raylan's count, I think, for the sake of our game.
yeah, without visibility on what Tedo's doing, it's kind of hard to let you know where he picked up his key at. There's a small key on the torch for check number 1.
Yeah, for all we know, Tedo could be ahead or behind Raylan at this point. So we'll just go with what we know. Going to Stalf's room, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. Very early big keys.
Gonna check all these chests looking for a sword or silvers, doesn't find anything. Black line, pick number 4. That is the closest anyone came. So Black line 3. Congratulations. You get to explain to your friends and family what the big key guessing game is because you're the winner.
Alright. And no Master Sword in sight, so we're gonna have to hope it's at the top of the tower.
Yeah, we got 4 more checks upstairs for a sword upgrade or silvers.
Yeah, because those 50+ spins are not fun. They have plenty of health, but it's still an abysmal fight. It's... If there's one thing I can recommend about this randomizer, don't try Master Silverless unless you are ready for it, because it is a thing.
Yeah, and Raylan also doesn't have half magic, so it's and doesn't have any. It does have a blue potion. Both runners have a blue potion from early in the game. So as long as Raylan hasn't used that, we haven't seen him use it on stream, but we have had an interruption here or there. We'll have a little bit of safety in the fight.
And this is the Salvos room we were talking about earlier, where Ether is somewhat useful. It just kills these Stalfos unless you move on pretty quickly. Of course, the Zax here are not able to be killed by it. And both these enemy types actually follow the similar movement logic, so... I think the only difference is the Zax don't try to dodge.
Yeah, no, they don't care about dodging you. They just continue moving at you. And they're not in a very good item drop pool today. They're in the arrow pool. Alright, Raylan's going to have to be a little bit careful here with magic. Without half magic, he's going to need a little bit left over. Or he's going to have to be very, very careful about the next couple of rooms. This one bit of magic from that pot is only good enough for a couple of Samaria shots. Going to use the bow here.
Yeah. Pretty wise play here. He needs to save his magic because of the upcoming double torch puzzle, so doesn't want to waste a single shot.
Yeah, if you have half magic, you don't need to have any magic leaving the leaving lane mode 2 to do all these rooms normally. The small pod is enough to get you through all of these rooms before you need to refill. But without the half magic, you do have to either... Oh, that's bad. Should have enough magic for these 3 torch shots.
Ooh.
It's looking really bad now.
There is some magic underneath the pop track here, but he has to work really quickly. Barely gets inside. Yeah, you heard that second animation there. He had maybe about a second to spare there.
Yeah, so those small pots fill an 1/8 of your magic bar, and the Samario takes a 16th per shot, and the lamp takes a 32nd per shot. And there's silvers, so there's a bailout right at the top of Ganon's tower.
In the last moment, the seed was kind to everyone. Now, please let there be a tempered sword in one of these chests. As we go to Lambo 2. So silvers means that we can cut down on pretty much half the necessary spin attacks we have to do for a Master Sword fight against Ganon. Which is very much a blessing.
Yeah, you'll need 12 spins for phase 1, 12 spins for phase 2, and then 4 for phase 3, but you won't need the 24 for phase 4 now. You'll just need 4. Or less, depending on how you line up your shots. We're not going to find out what's in validation chest until Raylan gets back on stream. Definitely hoping for a sword there.
Wasn't a sword. I saw the Master Sword as he went up the stairs there.
Well, that's unfortunate. Gonna be, this is what you got.
Yeah. It's going to be a Master Sword fight with silvers for Ganon, but it's still going to be a good fight all the same. Those silver arrows definitely avoided the worst case scenario possible for this.
So Agahnim 2 and then Ganon for both the runners. We'll see if we can find out how they drop in here in a minute.
And there is Agahnim 2 already taken care of. It must have been a pretty quick fight. Probably a double, triple, or triple double. Unfortunately, we did not get to see it here on our end, but thankfully we will. I believe our runners are doing local recordings.
Yeah, and according to our tracker, Derek, their streams are fine. It's just some issues with the restream today, unfortunately.
Hopefully we can get Tedo back up on the restream here in a moment. Alright. Gonna use the trident here to get a double spin. Very nicely done.
Yeah, you want to get your double spins in where you can in this fight. It is... you don't save any shots like you would with the Tempered Sword, but... does make it a lot easier. Phase 1, very quickly done. Raylan, having that blue potion is going to just use the cape here to get as many spins as it can in this location, getting 2 spins per attempt. That should be enough to move. Oh, almost enough to move into phase 3.
Yeah, we know phase 3 begins when the trident disappears after a teleport.
Raylan cracking that blue potion, getting ready to light some torches here in phase 4.
Yeah, and it teleports, like I said before, are seeded, and unfortunately that is a pretty rude teleport pattern. And silver is the one true weakness. 4 shots of that silver arrow bow. And gets the torch glitch. Ooh, and this looks good for a double?
Yeah, double, almost a triple, just only able to get a double there. A little late with that spin, get to a single shot in with the Master Sword. Arrow number 4, though, and get your GGs in chat. Raylan take care about to cross this bridge with what looks to be a pretty good time.
That's right, folks. Raylan Taker's going to cross the finish line here at a time of 1:22:53 on stream, but on race time,
1:22:53, their official time. Thanks to racetime.gg for hosting these races. And Raylan finishing.
And we should probably mention this here, even though Teto wasn't on screen. Teto actually finished a little bit sooner than Raylan Tanker did.
Yeah, Tato with a finish of 1 hour, 22 minutes, 15 seconds. Tato finishing in 10th, Raylan in 12th. Really good finishes for both these. And right now we are joined by Raylan. Raylan GG is a really fun seed to watch from our perspective.
GG. Was an interesting seed.
And we were also joined by Teto. GGC, we didn't see you finish, but congratulations as well, all the same.
Yeah, thanks, GG's. Just watched the restream after I was done and was like, oh, there's a black screen. I hope that wasn't because of the high bitrate. I totally forgot to adjust those, so this might have caused the black screen.
I'm not sure what's going on, but we were able to pick up information from you from our tracker, Derek. So all is well. And just a really interesting bit of logic this seed presented with whether those gloves were located at. And the decisions both of you made after being forced up Agahnim Tower. Talk to us about what you were thinking, what decisions you were thinking about making that climb.
I mean, you mean Castle Tower, right? So with Agahnim, you had to play this anyways. There was no way to avoid this, as it was a forced Agahnim seed. But they had to be progression in Palace of Darkness, so at least the flippers, maybe even more. So it was pretty straightforward at this point to just... It's a qualifier seed, don't risk anything. There are flippers in the first chest. Just go beyond and get everything else out of this. And better safe than sorry, full clear the seed and get the go mode after Mire, of course. And yeah, it felt pretty straightforward. Except for maybe the Sumeria, which you could locate later, but I think it was pretty fun.
Well, Raylan did not go get the slippers immediately. Headed over to Skull Woods, got the fire rod, and then did a very nifty water walk to pick up the mitts later.
Yeah, I thought about that too, but in the end, there could have been the hammer in pot. So, could have been the flippers, could have been the hammer, and skipping the hammer at this part requires so much walking around all through the seed, and so I decided to be at the safe part here and go for it.
Yeah, and of course, this seed ending with a Master fight with Silvers. We never did find that Tempered Sword.
Yeah, I was a bit scared about Hope Room, as I'm not sure if one did the white side of GT. I just went the Dark Magician route, so the Biki was pretty nicely on the third chest or something. But with the Hope Room, expecting like, oh, if there's a free sword or silver upgrade, this could be huge, but you aren't going to check this, right? So, nope. I'm not sure, wherever the swords are. Turtle Watch.
I'm not sure either. Raylan, of course, went straight left, so...
Okay.
So, Raylan, when did you decide to actually go get the flippers that you knew were in pod? Because you did a lot before doing that.
Yeah, I did a lot and retrospectively thinking I probably shouldn't have given that the logic had to be in pod, but yeah, I mean, we had potential red bomb access with the Mire, which then was found already when I went into Dark World. Once we go over to the left side, so I had planned out to get the quick checks out of Village of Outcasts up to Hype Cave. Maybe snatch a hammer there, because if it's just the flippers in pod, yeah, then going with the hammer to pod, maybe being able to go to Helma could have been an advantage depending on what we do or what we can do. But yeah, it felt pretty clean still throughout altogether, and pod was always on my mind to do once I don't have convenient checks to do anymore that are including full clearing crystals, because I had to find the flippers at some point, and yeah.
Yeah, but as long as you don't have... as long as you don't have the hammer, it could have been the hammer also. So it wasn't 100% sure if skipping might be a smart idea.
But it also could have just been hammer go mode at that point for me, or maybe whatever I find in pod go mode for me. And if it's the first chest, I can skip the back, which could have been an advantage. So there are always upsides and downsides. There has to be one item in pot, but there doesn't need to be more than one. So saying, but the hammer could be there is always double-edged.
But the hammer could be
sword.
there, yeah.
Because the hammer could also have been in Thieves Town or
Oh, the red bomb. Oh yeah, with the Thieves Town, yeah. Just go for it. Red bomb might be in logic, so yeah.
Yeah, that's basically the point I did, and
I
the pirate in Skullwoods was a bit gave me a little chuckle.
Yeah, at this point I didn't clear Moth right away because with the mirror for mids and with the potential pet check at this point, for which you need the mids anyways, it was like, yeah, you could easily route this in later on with the mids for a convenient check, and you don't have to go to the back to the front for nothing except for the crystal. And with a normal crystal, no need to clear this at this point. But never found a sword as an upgrade, so yeah, whatever.
Yeah, and actually that brings up a good point here, is that other than just that one required check in pod, which we now know was the flippers in the first chest, you didn't have to touch any of the pendant dungeons, so you pretty much could have just avoided them pretty much entirely up until you needed those flippers, which, of course, we knew those were locking pretty much everything in terms of navigation.
Yeah, so the funny thing here is, or for me maybe a bit disappointing thing here is, if this wasn't a qualifier seed,
yeah,
I might have felt a bit more willing to risk stuff and would have left pot after the flippers to go for the mountain. But with this being a qualifier and being first doesn't really help you much more than getting maybe 2 or 3 points more.
Yes, same with King's Tomb Graveyard Ledge. At this point, it's like you don't want to check it, but you don't want to miss an important medallion at this point, or even the hammer, and going to all those loose ends and wasting 10 or 15 minutes of nothingness. So it's better playing smart and risking 1 or 2 points. But I really appreciate Gem with a 1/3 in the seat. I think he did all the right calls, so that's an impressive time.
I mean, probably did skip out on the back of pot, which, depending on your route, reasonably could have taken. And even if we go pot early, flippers for your logic, and then the entire light world is open, dark world is open, it's definitely something you can make. And Jam is a strong player, so yeah, if he does the right calls, then he will have a very, very impressive time always.
That's right, and of course, our two runners here are talking about the overall winner of this qualifier race, which was Gem, and with a time of 1:13.27, which is a very impressive time here, all things considered. You guys were only finished about 10 minutes behind, but you're still up in the top of the pack. I believe overall you guys were 10th and 12th, I think?
Yep. Nice German group coming in there from 10 to 13.
I laughed a bit because this was pretty funny. Like, oh, I just beat Juan by a few seconds, and there's Tignaldo, and there's Max Santalos. So everyone came in from the German group of players here. So this was pretty funny. Even that we have a little German face-off here in the V-stream.
So,
yeah, it's
like those cycling races where you only what's the word? Running right after another. To reduce air resistance.
Oh, drifting. Drifting.
Yeah.
Like all 4 of you just drifting off, or the 3 drifting off you, Tato. And just a really impressive performance by you two and the other 2 German runners at the top there. Are you going to continue doing the live races, or you'll be doing any of these qualifiers acing?
I have my schedule set out pretty much. I will attempt or plan to do 2 more live qualifiers because the times are just pretty nice, and they are just simpler to do for me with having just 2 live stream, which I usually do anyway. Uploading for asyncs to YouTube and stuff, it's just stuff that's annoying for me since I have to go out of my way to do that. So I will reduce this as much as it feels. So it's good for me.
I'm really undecided. On the one hand, it's like it's not wasted time. Yeah, we have 10-minute delay, but you can still talk through the seat. So sorry for not having usable audio at this point. But it's like I'm still doing some kind of content while playing the game. This is always nice. And playing those icing seats offline for myself, just uploading those VODs and maybe watch them later again, which I'm not sure if I ever will. So this feels like I'd done this offline in the last 5 years or so. I started streaming and was always playing with friends or playing in some kind of competitive environment and had fun in streaming and playing this game. So this just grows together naturally. So I'm not sure if I can make all those live qualifiers, and with the starting field of player, those are really, really strong opponents there, which could be maybe bad for your score if you don't do well enough. But it's like you aren't sure with the acings anyways, because who knows? We don't.
Right.
Right. So I'm not sure. Maybe 1 or 2 acings, because I'm not sure if I have time next weekend. But I will decide the next days.
I mean, I can pretty much say I will do Ambrosia async since the live qualifier at 11 p.m. local time is just not appealing.
Yeah.
But
I think it's the same.
The other 2 I probably will try to do live.
Yeah, for those who are on the US folks, that is at 5:10, so this would definitely be almost close to midnight for our 2 German runners here. So definitely, I can understand you guys wanting to async that one.
It's the main tournament. I mean, I remember times in the last years in which I played at 2 a.m. my time, just for the sake of those time zone differences. But it's nice to avoid these if you can, and I think for those the asyncs might be the best.
Yeah, it's a really good system for folks in North America and Europe. I feel a little bad for summer runners in Australia and like in the APAC region. They're having a rough time. Though we did see Jewel Ninja run this race as well. Put up a pretty good time.
Yeah, we love those mass races. It's in the old days we had those weeklies and dailies, which with a lot of player competing with each other, but nowadays it's more or less like those main tournament races are where everyone comes together playing one seat, and this is a hell of fun with 70 people.
Yeah, the big race environment is nice to have. It's also nice to get people on camera so we can talk about the decisions too. Anything else that anything else you want to talk about the seed or the qualifier system before we head out?
Not too much. I was a bit unhappy, especially in the beginning, with how my execution was going. I was not really hitting all those timings and inputs that I wanted to do. Wanted to have them. So the beginning didn't feel great, but it kind of got better. Not really went too well, but overall it's still pretty decent, and having 2 90+ point scores is definitely a good feeling for the first 2 qualifiers.
Yeah, I mean, making the cutoff of 128 is always the goal, and later on those quartiles, it's like, yeah, whatever. You might have 5 great ones in the main tournament, it still counts. So at this point, it's important, and giving like 2 races, 2 pretty nice seeds and times, and you're still easily competing for those spot in the group stage, so everything is fine. And I think I thank you 3 for setting up the restream and restreaming us, because Ran and I we tend to speak for ages when we're doing a German restream on SpeedGaming Deutsch on the German restream side. It's like we have 90 minutes of gameplay and like 1 hour of interviewing afterwards. So I'm not going to repeat this here on the SpeedGaming 3 channel. So a big thanks for everything here. And before we are talking for the next hour, I think that's for me really thankful for playing. And GG's Ran once again. I mean, it's like we're playing every few weeks against each other. So that's fair.
I mean, it is the rematch of the semifinals of the
And now we're
recent
starting
German
talking.
tournament.
I'm really sorry.
You might think Teto embellished that a bit, but no, he really understated how long we are talking usually when we
I'm
go.
done. No more from my side. Thanks again, guys.
Thanks, you, thanks to Teda, thanks to Raylan. You want to follow those runners? Please do.
Yes,
Get
please
those
do.
links in chat. Also, give a big shout out to our tracker today, Daru. Making sure we know where everything's at, especially with runners going really fast, and keep that information for us. So big thanks to Daru. We are done with qualifiers for the weekend. Next weekend, we got 3 more qualifiers on tap starting next Saturday, April 15th, 11 a.m. Eastern, with, I believe that is MC Boss.
Yeah, it's Map Compass Shuffle with Mass Compass Boss Shuffle, so that'll be great to have. And then, as we mentioned as well, at 5:10, and we'll have the qualifier number 4, which is Inverted Ambrosia, or Inversia as we call it. And of course, so we should also mention here, don't forget to follow James FNX, and of course myself here as well. And don't also forget to follow SpeedGaming and SpeedGaming 226, so you don't miss any racing action, not just the Link to Fast Randomizer. And that's going to do it for us here, folks. From all of us here at the Link to Fast Randomizer, I've been Wolfling0370, and we shall see you all next time, and thank you for watching. Have a good night, everyone.